You never clicked apply on that job. You never gave permission for your resume to be scanned. And yet your name, your career, your personality has already been judged by an algorithm you never met, trained on strangers you've never heard of. And worst of all, it decided you're not worth a second look. Meet Sarah, double master's degrees, 7 years in the field. She aced the interview prep, customized every cover letter. She even networked with employees on the inside. Still, every application seemed to vanish into thin air. No callbacks, no feedback, not even a rejection email. Then one day, she got lucky, if you can call it that. A recruiter she'd spoken with accidentally forwarded her an internal note. It was just one line. Flagged by Athena, profile inconsistency, rejected. Athena? That wasn't a person. That was a system. Sarah didn't know it yet, but she had just stumbled into something much bigger. She wasn't just unlucky. She had been quietly disqualified by an AI model trained on profiles of people she never knew. Profiles that were never supposed to be used this way. Maybe even yours. Before we go deeper, subscribe to Cybercrime Exposed Files. We break down the digital systems controlling your freedom, finances, and future every single week. Disclaimer: this video is for educational and awareness purposes only. It does not provide legal, financial, or career advice. All references to companies, technologies, or individuals are based on publicly available information or fictionalized composites. Viewers are encouraged to do their own research and consult professionals before making decisions. Cybercrime Exposed Files does not endorse or promote any misuse of technology or data. Now back to Sarah. She wasn't alone. As we began to investigate, we found dozens and hundreds of similar stories on tech forums, Reddit threads, even in private Facebook groups. Everyone was saying the same thing. I applied to 150 roles and got 4 interviews. Used a resume writer. Still ghosted. Same company rejected me twice under different names. These weren't isolated cases. They were symptoms of something systemic, and it all came back to one hidden change in the hiring world: automated AI screening. 5 years ago, HR departments were overwhelmed. Thousands of resumes per role. Endless manual sorting. It wasn't efficient. It wasn't scalable. Then someone had a bright idea. Let machines do the sorting. The pitch sounded simple. AI can read faster, rank better, strip out human bias, equal opportunity for everyone. Companies bought in fast. Tools like HireVue, Pymetrics, Eightfold, and Paradox AI promise real-time screening, smarter rankings, and data-driven hiring decisions. But beneath that promise was something far more dangerous. Because to teach an AI how to spot a good candidate, you have to show it examples. Millions of them. Resumes, profiles, interview transcripts, personality quizzes, performance reviews. You tell it who got hired and who didn't, who got promoted and who flopped. And then the model starts to learn patterns, behaviors, names, styles, choices. But here's the problem. Much of the training data wasn't collected ethically. Some came from public job boards and professional networks. Without warning users, it would be used for AI training. Other sources were murkier. Data scraped from LinkedIn, GitHub, Glassdoor. In some cases, people's entire digital footprint was fed into machine learning pipelines without any consent. Some vendors even bought datasets from data brokers, who themselves acquired from resume upload sites, opt-out job quizzes, and email harvesting campaigns. In 2023, a research group found one resume screening AI had been trained on over 1.6 million profiles scraped from the internet. None of the individuals had given permission. Many didn't even know their data had been collected, but the algorithm had already made its judgment about people like them. So when Sarah applied, the AI wasn't evaluating her based on her own merits. It was comparing her to a shadow dataset of strangers, most of whom never agreed to be part of it either. It gets worse. One major HR tech provider was caught generating synthetic candidate clones to stress test its algorithms. These weren't fictional characters. They were Frankenstein resumes, created by blending real people's online histories. One profile pulled a software engineer's GitHub commits, a marketing manager's blog post, and a Harvard grad's educational background. Then it was tested by the AI to see how it would score. But here's the twist. The model didn't forget these fake candidates. It learned from them. So if the system scored one synthetic candidate poorly, it would gradually start to associate similar real candidates who share traits like tone, structure, or experience with rejection. Sarah eventually traced parts of her own LinkedIn summary inside one of these test clones. Her own writing, lifted and reused without her knowledge to help calibrate a machine that would later screen her out. By this point, the AI wasn't just filtering applicants. It was shaping the very definition of what a hireable person looked like. But that definition was warped, biased, tainted by flawed data and historical discrimination. One system favored applicants who stayed in the same industry for at least 5 years, hurting people who pivoted careers. Another downgraded those who listed community college or for-profit universities. Yet another gave higher scores to resumes that used corporate jargon, because the training data came from Fortune 500 hires, not startup survivors. And then there was the issue of demographics. In multiple studies, resume AIs were found to refer names commonly associated with white applicants over black or Hispanic ones, even when qualifications were identical. Some flagged gaps in employment as risk factors, penalizing single parents or caregivers. Others ranked resumes lower if the applicant had fewer LinkedIn connections or had taken more than 4 years to finish a degree. Even video interviewing tools introduced bias. One AI system gave lower scores to people with foreign accents, facial expressions it couldn't read, or camera lighting it couldn't parse. Some neurodivergent candidates who didn't maintain eye contact or smile at the right times were consistently downgraded. And because most of these tools are considered proprietary, the companies never have to tell you why you were rejected. They just tell you, if anything, that you weren't selected to move forward. The AI made its decision, and you'll never know why. But what if it doesn't end there? Many of these tools retain metadata from your previous applications. Some build what's called a recruitment graph, tracking your resume, IP address, job history, even which roles you clicked on. So even if you reapply under a different name or email, you may still be tagged as a low-priority candidate. It's a closed loop. Worse still, if the system learned that people with similar resumes or schools tend to get filtered out, it can begin screening you before you even click apply. This is algorithmic entrenchment, a system that learns to ignore people like you because it always has. At this point, you may be asking, what could be done? Some experts believe that as long as these AI tools are trained on biased or stolen data, they will always reproduce digital discrimination. But that doesn't mean you're powerless. The first step is formatting your resume for AI readers. Keep it simple. No tables, no columns, no graphics. Use standard fonts. Use job title keywords from the listing. And always mirror the language used in the job post, especially for required skills. Avoid unusual formatting. Spell out abbreviations. And don't assume the AI will understand context. It's not a human. It's a pattern matcher. Next, consider scanning your resume through AI resume checkers like JobScan or ResuMatch. These tools can give you a glimpse into what the AI sees. Also, pay attention to the platform you're applying through. Large corporate portals are more likely to use aggressive filtering. If possible, try applying through employee referrals or direct contact. And most importantly, ask questions. If you're in an interview, ask if AI tools were used in the application process. You may have a right to know, depending on your region. In the EU and several US states, laws are being introduced that require transparency in automated hiring. In Illinois, video-based interview AI tools must be disclosed and consented to. In New York City, employers using AI for hiring must audit their systems for bias. Push for these protections. Demand clarity. Share your stories. Because every silent rejection that comes from a machine trained on unauthorized data is a step toward a future where your humanity doesn't matter, only your pattern. And this future isn't hypothetical. It's happening now. In our next investigation, we found something even more disturbing. A resume surfaced in the dataset used to test a high-end hiring algorithm. It had a perfect work history. Elite schools, Ideal keywords. High-scoring personality traits. But it didn't belong to anyone. There was no LinkedIn profile. No social presence. No human behind the name. When we traced it back, we discovered it was a composite. A data chimera created from dozens of real people's achievements, backgrounds, and writing styles. The perfect candidate. That no one could ever be, because it never existed. Meanwhile, the real people was based on unaware, uncredited, continued getting rejection after rejection. We'll break that down in our next episode. Subscribe to Cybercrime Exposed Files now so you don't miss it. And if you've ever felt like you were invisible in the job market, drop a comment below. Tell us your story. This is more than a hiring problem. This is a data rights crisis. Because if you don't know who's shaping your future, someone else already is.